Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Police give details on producer's killing in Grandspan.
So here today, we have a situation where there's some social unrest in the Grandspan community, emanating from the community of Cruiser Banks, where yesterday the police had a confrontation with a known criminal, a man called Tadmar, who we have evidence shot and killed a man on Sunday whilst he was performing some construction work in the community, and fired shots at another man also. Now, the police, having gotten information that the man had returned to his place of abode, went and was confronted. A show of support for criminality and lawlessness. Evidence of the magnitude of social decay that has taken place in our society, which will not be supported or tolerated by the police. We will not tolerate support for criminality, nor will we tolerate acts of criminality within this space without taking action. The investigation has pretty much been concluded. The file is complete. All that is left now is for the deceased to be formally identified.
Ominous Omicron, new coronavirus strain triggers hotel cancellations and forward bookings.
The problem is we are having some cancellations, and this is really due to a lot of people, especially the more vulnerable and the elderly, are very concerned about traveling. The airport and getting to Jamaica is their major issue. But most of them, once they're in Jamaica, they know that they're in a very safe environment, and they're less likely actually to catch COVID here in Jamaica than they probably would in their hometown, because maybe all of the restaurants, the public areas are open, and we have the space to maintain the space, whereas in the polar countries it's mostly indoors, and that's where a lot of COVID is being spread. So if we can just convince those people who are frightened of traveling because of getting here, because they know once they're here, they're fine.
There are about three things that we say to them. One is that all of our workers, everybody who they'll encounter, serving them in one way or another, in the front of the house, in the heart of the house, in the hotel, all of them are vaccinated. Number two, we have to be offering a discount. Here's a special deal. We really want you to come. Please come. Then the third thing that we say to them is that the government of Jamaica has done an excellent job putting in place the necessary protocols, the necessary enforcement that would make sure that they're protected within the resilient corridor. So those are the three things that we say to them, and most of the time it works. We fear, however, that if Omicron spreads to a greater extent across the United States, and if it starts spreading here, to a great extent as well, then those three methods of convincing them may not necessarily work.
Are visitors asking questions about the staff being fully vaccinated or about the cancellations?
Every email and every phone call starts with the very first question is, are the staff vaccinated? The drivers, the hair braiders, the masseurs, the entertainers. That is the very first question. I don't think we've ever received an email with that not being the first question. So it means that everybody is concerned, and one of the concerns some of them have shown is that Jamaica does not have a high vaccination rate. But with the resilient corridor and all the protocols being maintained, we've been able to show the world that we are very capable of making sure that we're safe as an industry.
Are any of your current visitors worried about the cancellations that are happening? In other words,
So you mean the visitors that are here? No, I think the visitors that are here at the moment, their major worry is if their country suddenly changes their protocols where they might require to be quarantined. I think that's the major fear, and we've seen that with the Canadian market a lot, is the fear that they might have to quarantine when they go home, and the English market as well. They're not too sure what will happen when they go home. While they're on holiday, the protocols might change in their country. So that's what's been great.
A great example of the demands that the guests are placing regarding vaccination is from last October, when we had a wedding here at Kensington, which originally was supposed to be 80 people. And they were spending about 5 nights with us, and a significant rate, $300-400 a night on average. And it boiled down from 80 to 38 people because of the fear of COVID, because of the vaccination rate in Jamaica, because a number of the guests were so concerned about traveling generally at the time, but particularly about the low vaccination rate in our country, that on the day we had only 38 out of 80 people arrive. In order to make sure that we secured that wedding, we had to ensure that everybody serving the guests had proof that they were vaccinated. When the people checked in, they wanted to see samples of the vaccination cards, just to be reassured that everybody serving them were vaccinated at the time. Now, what that took was us having to make sure that even some of our veteran staff members had to be taken off the shift just for us to be able to get that group. Having had that experience, many of our staff then ran and got themselves vaccinated. In addition to that, there are a number of our repeat customers who have not been back for a number of years, since say 2018 and 2019, who themselves had experienced COVID back in the United States. And these people also played a significant role in convincing members of our staff and workers around us and community members just across the street from us, by calling them and saying to them and sending them videos of their own experience, having experienced COVID in the United States. So from the testimonials of guests, repeat guests overseas who had the coronavirus themselves, speaking to staff members and community members, and the experience that we had with that particular wedding, a number of our staff members at that time who were unvaccinated made sure that they were vaccinated, and they haven't had much side effects from it. You know, maybe some headaches here and there, but they have seen serious evidence of the fact that a lot of what is said in the social media space, a lot of the rumors that exist are just absolute nonsense.
We also had the TPD protocols that we all had to go through. The staff were all trained. We've had refresher courses, we've had updates. TPD checks us on a very regular basis. So we, as a destination and as a resort, we are ready to deal with, whatever comes through. But we're also working on the premise that every visitor that comes here has to have a test. So we really consider ourselves, the whole corridor, the resilient corridor, and the industry, to be really pretty much COVID-free.
Are you worried about the fourth wave?
Yes, we're worried that it doesn't get worse, but we're worried about what the other countries do. I think the fact that it's not such a dangerous part of the virus, I think that has kind of relieved a lot of the fears. But as usual, the elderly and more susceptible travelers are still worried, which is normal, and we understand all of that.
Are there any reductions in your forward bookings?
Every day we get a couple of cancellations, and then we'll just get an email saying, oh, a group of us want to come down, we need 6 rooms or 4 rooms. So, as the cancellations are coming in, not all of the cancellations are being replaced, but a lot of them are. And I think the airlines as well have been, reducing some of their rates. So it's encouraging people to come, because at the beginning of the season, the rates, the airlines were charging a lot. And I think now there's been a push to get more people to travel.
We appeal to all workers, all participants in our tourism industry. Please get vaccinated, because it is important for your livelihood, it's important for your lives, it's important for our country, because the more of us that remain unvaccinated, the more of us provide our bodies as a great feast for the virus. And the more the virus feasts, the more the virus breeds and produces children and grandchildren.
We look forward to welcoming back our friends and family. They really are our friends and family. I mean, most of our guests have been coming minimum 5-10 years, but right now in the house we have guests. They're on their 42nd visit to Sherella, and it's just so delightful, because it's like welcoming home the family that you haven't seen for the last 2 years, and it makes us all happy. The staff are happy to see new friends, and it gives us a sense that we're beginning to come back to normalcy. And I think it's wonderful for both us here in Jamaica, but also for the guests. They feel that life is starting all over again.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.